one of the things I want to talk about with you and try to get your perspective on is just the withdrawal and what the hell happened, Scott. Because I mean, the scenes of people like trying to cling on to airplanes flying out of the country, it seems like it being a disaster to this scale could have been preventable. I've seen the like mainstream media really start to target Jake Sullivan as being the national security advisor, and it would his role to like not allow this to happen, which is interesting that more on him than Blinken or Austin, the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense. So I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on how the Biden administration handled this and exactly. I guess I would think if I were Biden and I had decided to get out of Afghanistan, my instructions would be no, don't make it easy for them to compare this to the fall of Saigon. Like, we don't want the comparisons with the Vietnam War. And you actually had that. Now, I mean, they've been helicoptering people out of the embassy for years, I guess. But at the same time, like, maybe you set up one convoy to get everybody out or something so you don't have those photos for the media. You don't have people, like, trying to cling to planes and falling off of them at 100 feet. So that, and I got your article up here for anybody watching the show right now that, or no, I don't because it didn't load. But you have a new article out today at antiwar.com on Afghanistan. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, again, there could have been a massive slaughter of the guys trying to flee the embassy and get to the airport. When people say the fall of Saigon, and look, this is before I was born, but I have read about this, and I'm fairly certain, and I've seen documentary footage of it, so I'm fairly certain that, the fall of Saigon meant that NVA and the Viet Cong, their Viet Cong allies, sacking the city, machine guns ablazing, all over the place, and Americans, holding them off and dying trying to hold them off, while people are escaping, barely trying to hang on to the skids of the helicopter and this kind of crap. This, again, is not like that. The Taliban, they had a ceasefire deal, and they stuck to it and said, we're going to have this peaceful transfer of power where we get what we want and you guys leave, meaning the previous government. And then I don't even think they said the Americans need to leave. I think the Americans they fled the embassy because they were afraid of the worst. And so helicopter's one thing, but helicopter in an absolute life or death situation on the way out the door that's the ultimate catastrophe. And that's the way it's being spun, right? Again, it's being spun like it's Khmer Rouge have taken over the North. I mean, hell, even when the North Vietnamese took over Saigon, they didn't slaughter everybody, but it was a battle as they took it over. At least there was fighting, so anyway, they should have. Well, first of all, they should have admitted to themselves that the Afghan National Army is not holding on here. They're already giving up bases. We ought to plan for the worst. And we ought to go ahead, and even if they're lying and saying, oh, we think Kabul can stand for 90 days, they should be planning to get everybody out the day after tomorrow. And, instead they're like saying, no, we're going to keep this massive embassy with, I forgot how many employees, 1,000 employees and 3,000 troops to protect them or something like that, or 300 troops to protect them. I forgot what the hell it was.
There's thousands of employees and 650 troops, and even 650, and even this past, I think yesterday, I saw a statement put out from the U.S. saying that there were thousands of American civilians still in Afghanistan that they were trying to get out of the country. So it seems like they had a lot of people there. I guess some of them were probably like contractors or working for NGOs or something like that. But
yeah,
a lot of Americans, they still had no idea how they were going to evacuate, it seems.
Right. But yeah, now, as far as the scenes at the airport, I mean, where were the 650 troops to say everybody get the hell off the runway? That kind of failure of security is actually like a minor thing, but it just makes a stupid scene on TV. People chasing a plane down the runway. What the fuck is the point of that? What are they doing? And still, like, okay, you want to get the hell out of the country, but how much machine gun fire do you hear in the background? You know, like, are you sure you have to make this flight or die? Or maybe you could just wait and catch the next one, you know? Um, it seems like, from what I saw, there's a few days worth of planefuls of people, right? Maybe less. An airport can move a lot of people. I don't know.
Should be able to at least.
Yeah.
Now,
So
one thing I noticed though, that the morning that people are clinging to the plane, there was also some footage of Americans loading their military dogs onto the plane, and so I'm not sure. Maybe the
yeah,
people were like more saying like, "You're not taking your dogs out of here before us" or something like. I don't know if they were chasing
that's
the
pretty
plane
outrageous.
that was full of people, or if they were chasing a plane that was like full of military gear. Maybe like who knows? The Afghan central bank, as far as like a couple weeks ago, I think they said had like $8 billion. I'm sure they're interested in making sure that money doesn't go right into the hands of the Taliban.
Right.
So who knows what's on these planes? I guess that was part of the reason I thought people might be chasing it. But if it is full of Afghan people, chasing it down the runway is kind of hindering you getting out of the country if you're not on that plane.
Yeah, seriously. Like, look, we all know they can only take so many people, all right? So wait for the next one. You didn't make this one. Get the hell out of the way. I don't know.
And then I don't know if you read the story from the Afghan central bank head and his him
I
trying
did
to
read what the tweet storm thing
yeah
there?
that he
Yeah,
put
yeah.
out where he said that he got on his plane and there's like 300 people on it and no pilot and no fuel, and so maybe that kind of panic, just people thought that this was gonna be the last plane out of the country or something. But
I think they imagined that the Taliban is nipping right at their heels. As soon as they get here, they're going to start shooting us all.
right.
But then that didn't happen, right? Here we are. It's a few days, 2, 3 days later now, and that wasn't what happened. So I think they can all chill out now.
Right. Well, and isn't it kind of interesting, Scott, that you have Western reporters in Kabul, and things seem fairly. Nobody's getting shot. Like
Right.
some people are going about their business. There's traffic, stuff like that. But then you look at the Kabul airport, the one place in Afghanistan that's seems not to be under Taliban control at this point. It's the most chaotic and potentially deadly part of Afghanistan. Yesterday was the airport, and. Just kind of an interesting observation there of where the chaos is and where the death is happening and who's in control.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I think they presume a lot, and then they act based on how they think things are going to be instead of based on the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
And frankly, like, you could have some ISIS guys show up and do some suicide bombings at the airport right now that the Taliban would have tried to prevent if they could, and cause all kinds of chaos. Or maybe you have a disagreement among the Taliban and they decide to, start hunting for, wanted men among the crowds or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
But so far that hadn't been the case.